Hey, beautiful loves. We are having another heart to heart sesh, this time with the beautiful Bri. We are briefly going to go through her chart, chat up about human design, and we're going to see what comes up. Her Miss Bri is well versed in human design as well, so this should be very exciting for us to just have fun, chill out, and geek out. Thank you guys for joining us in events. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome, Bri. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful conversation. I'm so excited to learn more about you and just talk about human design. I always, whenever I meet people who are into human design, it feels so good because it's like not a lot of people. Like when you talk about it, people are be like, what are you talking about? What human design? Like it's just question marks all around. So I get so excited when I meet people who are just like speak the same language. So I'm excited to see. So introduce yourself. Tell me, talk all of us like who you are, what you do, and everything like that.
My name is Bri. I'm up north from you. I'm up in Massachusetts in snowy Winterland. Um, I am a multi-hyphenate artist, writer, poet, singer-songwriter, coming out of the closet after 20 years of quiet behind-the-scenes writing.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. A like very varied visual artist, inspired by like life itself, I could say. I feel like I hit the ground running when I um, got got born up here and was like, I'm really, really compelled by like world cultures and like material culture, whether it's like clothing, adornment, lifestyle. Um, and yeah, human design came into my life at a time that I really, really needed it, where I was really burnt out from a long stint doing a job that really wasn't. Um, it wasn't where I wanted to be. It wasn't how I wanted to be using my talents, but it was what I kind of got funneled into straight out of art school.
Story
Um,
about our lives.
yeah, and I really needed the permission that knowing that I was a projector brought to me, of like knowing that I wasn't here to hustle and push. Like I'd pushed myself into really severe illness and
Mm.
was like in deep recovery from all the aspects of the world that I, as a young person, knew weren't right for me, and had felt a lot of friction with on a spiritual level in general, but that I kind of like I didn't have um, the autonomy or like the agency built up in myself
Mm.
to know how to guide myself differently. And so I feel like now at almost 37, I'm like kind of freshly figuring out how do I carve a life for myself as an artist and as a sort of oddball, and not cave back into like the, for lack of a better word, and sorry to be so like gross about it, but like the American machine.
Yeah, nah. Please be loud and proud about that because
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I'm like
Practicing that.
we do with that. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you for acknowledging and knowing when, even though it got to the point of burnout, you still got to a point where it's like, no, that's not the way I want to live. There's another way. And thankfully, human design came into your path at that time for you to like see the dynamics. And I love when you said, I was given the permission to be like that. I'm a projector. Like
No,
that, I could imagine the first time I received that as well and what it did for me. So I know exactly what it did. Can you
yeah,
describe that moment, like when you first stumbled across it, like
yeah,
when because of human design, and you're just like, oh wow, like I would love to hear that.
totally. I feel like I still remember it so keenly. I was living in a yurt off grid on my family's land in the forest, which is like something that I'd always wanted to do since I was young. Um, I mean, even more so than just a yurt, but like I always felt really connected to nature and like wanted to live in
Mhm.
the forest, and live like a simple life. And so that was sort of my recovery place from the world where I kind of retreated to, but I was still so fraught with all of the conditioning. And I don't know if I had the word for it
Mm, mm,
then yet. but I was still like really tortured by all these inner narratives about what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing, and all these like battling parts of myself. And I don't remember. I think I learned from human design first from Peathefeary. I don't know if you know her.
I heard.
She's
No.
really special. So shout out to Peathefeary.
I
Or
have
how
to
she used to go by. I think now she's just P. But
okay, look at her for sure because I love, yeah.
she's wonderful. Yeah, I like remember the visceral moment of like me in my little kitchen, like sitting on the floor with my phone or computer, I forget which, and just like wormhole, like projector style, just like wormholing into a new system that I was like like calibrating to. Um, and yeah, reading about the projector was like it still feels like almost like a rush through my entire body of like calm and like belonging to something that like I always knew was me, but I was constantly overriding and trying to like um overcome in order to please others and be normal.
Mm, so
um and yeah, it was like a very somatic experience for me, of just like almost like being faced with like a truthful mirror for the first time, rather
yeah.
than sort of like projecting onto that mirror what I wanted to see or what I was anguished that I wasn't seeing, or I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it fully does. I'm receiving exactly what you're putting down. Like, it does. And that right there, even like on that primal feeling, like that feeling of acceptance, that feeling of belonging, especially when you knew that was always there. You had signs all along. One of the things that I love about this discovery of human design is the fact that it reinforces what we couldn't put into words, like what we felt, and then it also amplifies the fact that we need to start going by our feelings. We need to stop putting them aside and stop going into our head, because our mind is really meant to like direct us, not meant to make the choices. So it's really, I love asking people this question, because then it also shows me that point in the life where that turning point, like where
yeah,
things really start to shift. So thank you for that.
yeah,
um I have made a report for you. Like, I know that you are well versed in human design, but I'm so excited for you to like look into it and like see certain things you may not have come across. And I would
cool.
love for you to ask any questions once you receive it. I'm here,
Yeah,
get me, email me, I don't care.
thank
Um,
you.
but one thing I wanted to ask you, because like as a 1-3 emotional projector, because
Yeah,
projectors in general, we all have the gotta wait for invitation, wait for that recognition. Depending on what authority you have, you either had to like go by the feel in the moment, or you sit and wait until the clarity hits and you're grounded. Um, so we all have different ways of being projectors. So
yeah,
I wanted to ask you your insight on like if anything popped up that reminds you of like, wow, I'm a 1-3 emotional projector, and this is why so and so, this is why I'm experiencing stuff like that. Maybe this is why I don't feel too called to go towards this path. If you could describe any like examples of, wow, this kind of links up with me being a 1-3 emotional projector.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I've just recently been going through another round of obsessively investigating my particular
That
channel.
one line.
Um, yeah, yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I was just thinking about, I just saw your most recent reading and interview with another 1-3 projector. And a lot of the stuff that you guys were talking about definitely clicked. Um, yeah, I think on the 1-3 level, I resonated with that so much because I've always been like a very voracious learner. I feel like I'm a lifelong learner, very
Mm-hmm.
passionate learner about so many different things. But always felt like this tension between like how, whether I was recognized for the knowledge that I had, and forgive me, like using that term, which is like unique to the projector, but I mean in a general sense, like
Yeah.
I felt like I had a lot of people recognizing my um brilliance, so to speak, but I never really knew how to, not that I didn't know how to channel it, but like I was always so indecisive about how to apply it. Like
Mm,
I was so frustrated internally, still am to some degree, about like my fear to begin doing
mm,
something.
mhm.
Always like second guessing and holding back, and like I've at this point been able to recognize that like even though I'm a passionate learner and that has its own beauty and like I shouldn't stop myself from doing that, it's also a crutch to prevent me from like actually doing something with it. I'll just keep being
Yeah.
like, oh no, but I need to learn more. I need to sign up for this class again. I need to sign up for
There's
this
still
class.
more to study. There's still more to find out.
Yeah. And like the whole phenomenon of like, gathering um information and perspective and adaptation once you begin, and not like you can never like have everything that you need to know before you even start. Like that's not how life works.
Sometimes
um
along the journey, you find that's when you find the things that you've been looking for the
yeah,
whole, and that
so
speaks to three line, the three
yeah,
line. And I always, whenever, because I think I mentioned in the last video, I'm always speaking to 1 3s. I feel like I pay attention to that as a pattern recognizer. Like,
yeah,
I feel like maybe for a reason, it's for a reason, but as studying the profile 1 3, that clash between I need to have all this information before I start, and damn, I need to actually start and butt my head a few times to learn what
yeah,
information I need,
yeah,
um, and find that balance. And, sometimes it could go on the other side and then the opposite. And so, yeah,
totally.
that's something that constantly comes up that
And
I
it
see.
totally, and I think it's also like it was very affirming to the part of me that is um as well as like just knowing I was a projector in general, like the part of me that is very, I'm very connective. Like I love people. I can drop into people very deeply and quickly. Um, and I like it's been challenging to balance the parts of me that are very outgoing and connective and love connection. And then this
Yeah.
part of me that's like sort of a recluse that just like I just want to be left alone in my own world to like do whatever the fuck I'm wanting to do or research or like kind of orb out in. And I thought that like I think I judged myself for that and felt like I was always supposed to be social or service oriented or like action oriented, and I didn't really know how to honor the fact that I need a lot of like it feels like mad scientist time. Like 1 3
Yeah.
kind of feels like a mad scientist a bit.
I hear
Um,
that a lot from other one
oh,
threes.
nice. Yay, oh, cool. Yeah.
That mad scientist is like, the experimentation of it all is kind of like, dang, like, then you realize it's kind of, it never ends.
Yeah, and, like, even though I'm saying that, like, I've struggled to start things, like, I think that that's because I know deep down, like, or I have my own fantasies of, like, what that looks like, when in
Mhm.
reality, in my day-to-day life, I'm gathering information all the time. Like, I feel like I know I'm a very hypervigilant, both from trauma history and just as a person. Like, I'm tracking things on a minute level within myself and in my field all the time, and I need a lot of time to process what I find
And that
because
requires
I
alone time.
go so
Yeah.
deeply.
It
Um,
requires space.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like I have to shut off stimulus at a certain point so that I can just, like, look at what I've gathered and, like, sort it out. And the emotional projector part, I feel like I'm still understanding that. Like, the particular channel that I have, that I'm probably gonna forget in this moment is, like, 5939. It's the channel of emoting. Um,
Coding. Mm.
yeah, and, like, that I've been researching it in terms of, like, one of those gates, the 55 or 59, I'm forgetting right now what the number
Hmm.
is like a pivotal one in the upcoming like 2027 shift and all that that's like predicted or whatever. Um,
Nice.
but in the and so I've been trying to like distinguish between like what is the the collective experience of that and how it serves the collective and what's the individual experience of that and how
Mm-hmm.
and it can mean two different things. I find that for myself, like it was definitely affirmative to me to find out I was an emotional projector, just in that I've always been an intensely emotional person.
Mm.
Um,
And have you had any moments where you feel like, I'm listening to you, I'm gonna get my other light, but have you had any moments where you felt like kind of shame to have that much like
oh,
emotion as
absolutely.
a person?
100%. Yes. I think, our culture is not, doesn't
Yeah.
encourage or support a lot of emotional expression. So you're kind of expected to always be able to mask it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that caused me to sort of turn in on myself
Mm.
about my own emotionality and sort of be constantly trying to figure out like what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling this way? Like and start sort of pathologizing it. Like I could
Mm-hmm.
totally see like emotional channels, particularly the one that I'm working with, and just because I know it best because I study my own experience the most. Um, to like have the extremes between like abundance of spirit and like
Mm.
hope and despair, or like vision and melancholy, and like to always be moving back and forth between these. It could be easy to be like, oh, I'm bipolar, or like kind of write
So
it
easy.
off.
Yeah.
Well, so easy. And it's hard too because like on a human level, it's like, how do I feel about something? We're kind of taught in our culture that like when it feels amazing, it's the thing. Like that's what we're all shooting for. We're all shooting for like feeling incredible and
That
just like
Gloria feeling. Yep. Yep.
yeah, which is like that's really hard to break out of even for me, but like my constant experience is like feeling really spiritually elevated.
Spiritual.
So many things are aligning. I'm in flow. There are like miracles happening and like coincidences happening. And then I fall out of that and there's like none of that to be seen.
Right,
And
right.
I think to an extent that is the human experience. But it's been challenging to learn through what human design teaches about
Emotion.
emotional authority, that you have to like ride the wave of
Ride the
the
wave.
experience
Yeah.
until you sort of like rest in the middle and can like discern from a calm point what you actually are called to do. It's hard.
I can only like imagine that, because as a splenic, yeah, I'm to like basically be present,
Oh,
and
yeah, you
listen.
just drop
Oh,
in.
I have to really like, and if I'm not, I miss a few things, and then you never know. I'm blindly walking into lack of alignment, and with emotional, what I read up on it was the fact that what I received from what I read is kind of like, first off, for the most part, any kind of choices, right? Any kind of choices that come up, whether it's like what you consider a big choice or just something as simple as what I want to eat today, you know? Um, and then that whole riding the wave of the emotional highs and lows, it's kind of like enjoying the experience of feeling and
Yeah,
not feeling the need to act out because on it right then and there because you're feeling it.
right.
And then it also requires presence too, because you need that presence when you're back to that grounded to realize when when the decision comes up again, how you feel in your body in
Yep.
that moment. So yeah, I can understand why it will be, because if you're telling me that I don't necessarily have to move off this feeling right now, like I could
Yeah.
just chill,
Yep.
yeah. I understand it. And I also look at it as practice too, because I
100%.
have been practicing with my authority as well, like intentionally practicing to a point where it's like, all right, let me practice some presence, and let me see how my body chooses to speak to me. Is it like crying? Is it nudging me? Is it am I hearing sounds, or in what way is my stomach hitting? So,
Yeah.
and also in a way for you is to experiment when you're in those heightened emotions, right? And experience the feeling of riding the wave. and then also experience the moment where you're no longer there and you found yourself in that middle ground. How does that feel? What comes up? And
Yeah.
like practice,
Well
because
said.
honestly it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to experiment,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know?
Very well said. Yeah, totally. Yep.
So that's what really helped me a lot, honestly, and it's been better because at first what my problem was, I didn't trust myself. So even if I had the splenic hit, I kept in my mind going back and forth with what I received or going to other people asking them for what I already received. So there's a lot of deconditioning in this thing, which I'm
Totally.
thankful, you know? I'm
Mm-hmm.
thankful. Also in your chart, I would love to share with you some examples of, and you can let me know what stands out of someone with your unique blueprint, how they operate when it comes to like career, or how does it look when they're in alignment versus not in alignment. So
Mm-hmm.
let's read through some. Let me see. In alignment, you are offered a role, a collaboration. Instead of answering immediately, you say you need time. You sit with the idea for a few days. You notice your emotional wave rise with excitement, then fall into doubt. After riding the wave, you feel a calm sense of readiness rather than urgency. You accept only once your body feels settled. Once in the role, you work deeply, refining systems, improving processes, and becoming someone others rely on for insight. So that's a beautiful example of when, especially utilizing the emotional authority. I think about this often. Like, you know, let's say you're looking for a job and you're like in desperate need of one, and the first job comes to you, and you probably already feel like heightened emotionally and desperately needing something, but also feeling that sense of, I don't think this is the one for me. Let's say you jump into the job and then you're more frustrated than before. It's kind of like that, you know, instead of allowing yourself to sit with the, like, do you really want to do this? And, or ask yourself, am I saying yes because I'm afraid, or am I saying yes because I truly believe this is what I need to do?
Yep.
You know, it changes a lot. Let's look at it out of alignment when it comes to career and work decisions. You feel pressure to decide quickly because you're afraid of missing an opportunity. Basically, what I just said. You say yes during an emotional high to avoid disappointing someone or feeling yourself. A few weeks in, resentment builds. Your energy feels drained. You begin questioning everything and you feel stuck in anxiety. So you see the polar opposites, right?
Yeah.
It's total polar opposites.
It's embarrassing. Like
It's
hearing you
embarrassing.
read the first one was like, that's so helpful to just have that healthy blueprint example, so concise, so pure, so clean. Like that resonates so much. I'm like, there's so few situations that have happened in my life that actually happen that way. Many more happened the second way.
Oh man, but isn't this like so like confirming like, oh, okay, now I know for sure this is not the way I want to do. Like, you know,
Oh
I don't want
yeah.
to do business this way anymore. Yes, I love that. I love that for us. Before we go further, there's something that came to my mind earlier and I forgot to even address it. When you were talking about, you know, wanting all these information and before you completely start, and that was more so about your 1-3 profile. I started thinking about your fear motivation. Have you looked into your fear motivation to see
Why?
more
A
about it?
lot lately.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you see similar? Do you see how it kind of amplifies that need to like have everything figured out before you start?
Yes. Yes.
It
Oh,
kind of
I didn't think about it specifically in that way, but I appreciate you bringing that
no,
level
sir.
of context over my overall process.
It intensifies it. So give yourself grace because this is literally your makeup, and I feel like that's when the acceptance rolled in. Like, you know, there's just certain things about design when you combine it together
Yeah.
that one part of it kind of goes against the other part in a way, and it's kind of reminding us to meet in the middle somewhere, but also give ourselves grace because you cannot help the fact that you want your stuff set up a certain way. That's just
Right.
how you feel about your work. You care about your shit. You don't play about your art. You know, so continue to give yourself grace.
I will say too that I'm learning right now to honor, like when I first found out that I was fear motivation, I was terrified of it. I was like, oh no, like that's the worst motivation to have. Like, oh my God, like because there's so much in our culture, especially in like spiritual spaces, about
Yeah.
fear, like
Yeah.
overcoming fear. And I was like, how do I accept that like fear is actually like a core discernment tool of my design? Um, and so I'm actually like, I'm appreciating in this moment the overlap of like the emotional wave and like being rooted in that center space of discernment and being able to hear like what fears are coming up and guiding me and telling me maybe this isn't for me.
Yes.
'Cause I've
Yes.
ignored that a lot out of like desperation or obligation or like
Mhm.
emotional high of like needing to help others or please others or care for others. I've really struggled with that sort of social conditioning. Um, so I'm just appreciating that extra layer.
I'm happy to hear that, you know. I love what you said about what is the fear teaching me, because literally if we all start looking at fear as the feeling itself as okay, it's the need for more information or information itself. It gives us information and feedback, you know? So in a way, it kind of does help you heal that initial perception of fear because of what you grew up on. So it's so interesting how, in a way, all of this, all of our makeup is just set up a certain way to heal us.
Yes. Oh
It's
God,
like how much we love ourselves, you know? You know?
totally. Yes. Deeply.
And it's intentionally made up in a way for us to get to that point of elevation,
Yeah.
expansion, because everything we're afraid of is what we is what we need.
I know exactly. And that's something that I've appreciated about human design in general as I've like looked more deeply through um the what is it called?
The
Like
motivation.
a PDF. No, the rave iching. I forget what it is. It's just like
Oh, okay.
a comprehensive like list of all the not list, comprehensive encyclopedia of all of the gates and channels. And I was
Yes.
like, reading through them and like reading through the like lines for each gate. I'm like, wow, some of this stuff is like really intense. Like people get demonized for these very qualities. And at first I had this sort of like trembling, like, oh my gosh, like how do you share this information with people? How do I hold this myself? And I was
I
like,
have all this
oh
information. How do I? I need to share this.
yeah, but it made me realize like, oh, the system isn't discriminating the way that our culture does between what is right, what's wrong, what's okay, what's not okay to be. It's just showing us the sort of like, I see human beings as like we contain the multitudes of the universe, right? But
Yes.
within social and cultural structures, a lot of that gets cast into shadow or demonized or
Thank you.
whatever for many different reasons. And the
Yes.
system holds that all it's like it's all equal information. Everybody's got to learn how to like develop an appropriate expression of it or containment
Hmm.
of it and guide it. But none of it is inherently bad. And we kind of have to come out of our own cultural conditioning to just appreciate the qualities of our own uniqueness and our
Yes.
personality in order to like actually live a full life and not be repressed. It's challenging. It's not easy, but if I really appreciate that the system doesn't shy away from that.
It
It contains it all.
It doesn't. It has not once I have read anything
And that's
saying
what
this is
sets
a
us
negative
free.
trait. You shouldn't be this way. You should come out of that. Not once. And I love that you brought that to mind, because I think about that often. I think about the fact that imagine being demonized for a trait that you were made up of. Like this is something that
Totally.
you're literally, this is you. You're telling me I should be shunned because of who I am.
Like, I appreciate the language and human design of mutation. It's like many of us are born with particular qualities that are meant to provoke, that are meant to challenge, that are meant to create complex dynamics with other designs and other elements and other people in order to further and deepen human awareness of like our species itself and our role here, or not necessarily even role, but like it's all a very complex organism that's
Yes.
actually moving us forward. It's not um like until I have the personal belief of like until we know how to love our whole nature, we'll never be free. Like as human beings in the widest sense, but it takes a long time for us to get there.
It does, because it really starts with ourselves.
Yeah.
That usually, and I had to go through that. I'm pretty sure you had to go through the part where it was really dark and nobody was there. Like we
Yeah.
all have those. That's the difficult thing. Nobody wants to go there,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's they self. People are afraid of themselves.
Absolutely.
And just to go back to what you're saying, it's kind of like, yes, the parts that we play, like I think about this often. We all came with these specific like attributes to play. I like to look at us like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
Imagine changing your shape of their puzzle. How are you going to fit this beautiful piece? You're going against your natural nature. What? Because someone ashamed you from it? You feel fear. You're hesitating on your actual path, holding yourself back based off of what everyone is saying is right or not right.
Yeah.
And that right there is very unfortunate. That right there, I think about it often. And
Mm.
it really does start with us. It does. It
For
goes back to love. That's why authenticity is so high up on that
yes.
frequency. Because once you love yourself and as a whole, that authenticity, it just shines. And
Yeah.
then it becomes contagious. Me
Yes.
being myself makes you want to be yourself. Makes that you're doing the same thing. It's like a domino effect. Everybody is contagious.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
shout out to us. Shout out
Yes, I know. It's a beautiful thing. I think it's like what has drawn me to human design and what makes me like I've been totally shying away from starting to give readings myself, which is why it means so much to be here with you too, because look up to you so much of like you just putting yourself out there so
thank you.
authentically. And I want to say raw, but it's not necessarily just raw. Like you have so much authenticity and grace toward
Thank you.
yourself, your own process of sharing. Um, and it's really like it's such meaningful work to bring to people because we all need that permission. And I really love like what you say a lot about, and I might get the phrase slightly wrong, but
That's
like
right.
human design doesn't tell you who to be, it shows you who you are. Like you've already been all the things in your chart, but it just helps to give you a map and a mirror for you to like appreciate your own nature through. Um, yeah, I don't know. I really resonate with that. I always love it.
Thank you for that. I love speaking about it like that. Thank you for even like bringing it up. Like it means a lot because it's like this is it's so true, and I love that you're receiving it and like, others are receiving it too because we come into we learn these things and they're fun to learn, especially when we learn about ourselves and we
Yeah.
feel like we're reading it. This is how it's supposed to be. No, if you observe your habits, you will see you've been just being this whole time.
Yeah.
You've just been being this whole time. And yeah, there are certain things and factors that are trying to stop you from being, but
Exactly.
that's what these tools are for. They're so phenomenal. And I want to thank you for just reassuring and reaffirming, why I'm doing this because I feel so happy. Look at the beautiful people I meet. Like, how am I supposed to meet these amazing people if I wasn't doing this? So I'm very thankful. I'm very appreciative. Love to share some examples of some roles. Let's see if anything stands out. So I see here advisory and guidance based roles, psychology, mental health, emotional intelligence fields. So back to therapy. It's actually like other than so primarily you're just creative, right? That's it. Like primarily, there's nothing else that you're pursuing on the side or anything like that.
I mean, I I feel like the big part of I'm like not quite sure how to say it because it's still like a part of myself that I don't claim openly to others.
Okay.
Because I haven't really known how to hold it and what the roles suggestions that you were just reading off or touching on it very deeply. And I'm curious also about whether those roles were suggested based on like just the projector or like the whole design.
The
Does it
whole design. So
okay.
it combines your 1-3, your projector, even fear motivation. into like it
Yeah,
consolidates them.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
From what I see, majority of this is people facing roles. Yeah, there are some
Yeah,
quality controls, like of course with your one line, you're able to scan through to see where things, even with your fear motivation, see what's wrong. You're able
yeah.
to, you're like
So very
a, a, a
problem
checker
motive.
for anything that's an error, you
Yeah,
know. So there's
totally.
that. For most part, it's either creative, healing, integrative practices,
Yeah,
and it really highlights everything, even back to what you're saying about community and what that means for you. I added some astrology insight in it too. Like you have so much placements in the 11th house, like the 11th house, which is
yeah,
basically community and
right.
network. That
Yeah.
is your source. That's your
My
thing.
It's cute. I love, not cute, but like I'm endeared that you brought that in because I was just thinking about it. So I'm gonna say two things, one in response to astrology and one like what else am I doing? I feel very strongly that like I knew from a young child that like I was here to play some sort of like, and this was affirming too when I learned about like the projectors being the guides. I
Mhm.
felt like I was meant to be a guide for others. And of course, like my 1-3 has got me so insecure about like, but do I have it right? Like, am I gonna
Do I
lead
know all
people
the
astray? Like,
information?
do I
Like,
know enough
yes.
to, yeah, like just super paranoid about like my own capacity to actually hold that role with integrity because I've had some really intense experiences in my own life of being really deeply shaped by people who like I've been adopted twice. I grew up in the foster care system and um I've been in situations where I've been really grossly controlled and conditioned and I know what that feels like and I don't want to do that to anyone ever. And it's very intimidating to be an in-process human but also to confidently claim a role of
Mm.
consultant and guide for others. But I've felt very drawn to doing that. I feel like that's my what I'm growing into, what I'm very afraid of, and what I'm kind of naturally doing in my friendships already.
Right.
Like people come to me at unique times and like I've had to learn how to like come out of my head around like having just the perfect thing to say and really
Mm.
speaking from my experience and because I'm on a personal level, on a relational level, I am experimenting a lot and I'm always like, adjusting the scales and like changing my approach and like always just like, I feel like there's
Yeah.
this like micro level, like detailed cascade of web that comes out of me. And I'm just like, always like just trying things a little differently. So I feel like my strength is in drawing from my direct experience. And that's where I can speak most truthfully from
Mhm.
because and in combination with learning systems like human design and astrology it's like I can see like what I might think is best for you might be totally antithetical to how you're designed to work, so it's important for me to be able to
Yep.
integrate information about you that I couldn't know from just meeting you with what I can
Yes.
draw on both from my direct experience and from my channel, for lack of a better word. Like I it's not always on, but I feel like that the Genius to Freak channel and the like information and insight synthesis, like it's
Mm.
on when it's on and it's off when it's off. I can't
Off.
always get
Yep.
it. And that's also been a huge source of fear and insecurity for me because I'm like, I'm not one of those people who can just like rattle off
And
facts.
tell you.
Like my brain doesn't
Yeah.
work there. It's just it's connected to something entirely else. And sometimes that pathway is open and shit just comes out of me that and then I stop talking and it's gone. And
And
so I
sometimes
felt
stuff come out of you that you like, did I say that? What? How did where I come from with that?
and
No.
it's often like it gives me the most relish, like I experience the most relish in my life when I'm able to like bring some insight to someone that just like like elevates their life and their agency and their understanding of themselves or their circumstances. Um so yeah, I feel like I've been like a closet. I don't know what term to put on it 'cause, like, I haven't felt drawn to go to school for a particular form of therapy. I kinda see myself as, like, a
Maybe.
rogue Yeah, like a misfit person. Exactly. It's like
It's so non-traditional. Like
exactly, so non-traditional. And part of me is like, well, I need to just trust that like the right people will find me if I continue honing my craft and like I'm showing up in the world as the example of what I'm spending my time doing and processing and feeling into and understanding. And so like the people who recognize that and see me as a fit for them are going to reach out to me, and
of course.
so part of me just sort of trusts that
Yeah.
process.
I mean, we have to, especially as projectors, we are meant to be recognized. And I feel like when we go through that phase of not being recognized where we feel like there's something literally covering us, like we feel like nobody sees us, it's so hard to grasp that we are meant to be recognized, but we are
Totally.
like that lighthouse that's shining, that we're always, as long as we're pouring into ourselves and we're doing what we love and we are being unapologetic about it.
Yes, that's what I like. I had a like a vision moment earlier, or I forget when it was. I was gonna say earlier this year. I'm like, no, this it's still the beginning of the year. Some time ago, like a few months
This
ago,
time in
and
Illinois.
I was recognizing a pattern in myself of like when I start to feel insecure about my self-worth, because my
Mm,
self-worth used to be like very organized around like being of use to others. And when my self-worth would start to go down, I would overcommit myself to whatever came my way, or I'd go out in the world like seeking things to sort of plug myself into. And
yeah.
it took me a while to realize, and lots of cycles of like burnout or like pushing myself through something that I was horrifically struggling with. It was way too
Yeah.
much for me. So much was coming up that I couldn't process. Like it wasn't a good fit, but I'd
Hmm.
like stay committed to it anyway because I had this, just conditioning around that. It made me realize, have a new layer of epiphany around like when you like watch yourself when you're feeling that like worthlessness, watch yourself, watch what you do there, because like you can get yourself into so much trouble just going out and looking for people to see you, or looking for places where you're like, I know I have something to give this, but if they don't invite you in,
They don't see you
you're always going to be working against yourself. You're holding this wealth
always.
that nobody else knows how to tap into. You don't know how to pour it out from you. It has to be drawn out. It has to be asked for. It has to be like relished, and like then it's exciting and it flows. Um,
Mm. And that
but
excitement, oh, it matters. That
yes,
excitement.
but I realized like what I was trying to respond to something that you just said about like pouring into yourself, because that's the
Mm,
exact like I was like meditating about it, and I had this sudden just like momentary vision of an image of like and like a phrase that like
mm,
came into my mind that was like, you pour into yourself what you just focus on pouring into yourself, and that will radiate and draw in who you're meant to work with. Like
yes.
you have to make yourself the center of your world. It is not selfish. It is your imperative. That is how you function. Like if you don't, then I'm just like a black hole of like searching,
For
right?
real.
Like where do I fit? Where can I be useful? Like I want to be needed.
Yeah.
um
Like imagine going on in your life feeling like you need another source in order to feel that aliveness and not being able to
totally,
find that within yourself, you know?
totally.
Like we're doing ourselves a disservice when we do that. We do others a disservice as well. Yeah.
100%.
I was also looking at your centers. I won't go too deep into it this route.
Yeah.
I would love to like we could link up one day and talk more about the channels and the gates and everything like that. But as you were speaking, and saying that you have so much to share, like and also questioning whether the things you have, like, would that be enough and accurate enough to even consult another, guide another,
Exactly.
you
Yes.
know your throat center, it being defined. I'm not too sure what gates are in this. 23, 35, 16, 8. Probably go through them. But whenever I see defined throats, literally, it's like, you know, the throat is really, they connect this to manifestation, because that creative expression, you speak, it becomes true.
Mm-hmm.
When it's defined, nobody else has that gift that you have. The ability, your voice, the information that you carry is consistent. It's yours, and you do have something that you need to share. You do have something that, especially as a one line, you take in so much information. Your path is to share and disperse that, because you can't keep that all in. So just to remind you that you definitely do have the information that you need and the ability to guide another, because you're living it. And it doesn't require the books. Sometimes, yes, you want to look over and research, of course, but for the most part, you lived it. You're living it. And I feel like, even as someone that's into the same things too, like, I have had those experiences where I'm like, I also have a gate for it. The channel of is it advocacy? Yeah, like, always questioning. Oh my God, is it? But in order for me to even see, there are times when I did slip up. You know what I did? I had to correct myself. Correct myself. All right, you got it. I correct myself. But then it also reinforces, like, what if I didn't? Would I have learned? Would I have, So, yeah, I just want to reinforce that into you. Like, you definitely have a gift and a message to share with others, especially when it comes to, like, guiding. Especially a Gemini Mercury. Oh man, yeah, you need to be talking to your people, okay? Any questions? Anything further you want to discuss? I'm all ears. This was such a beautiful conversation.
I really appreciate that affirmation. It's helpful to hear from outside of the part of myself that wants to, believe in myself. Yeah, it's really, really resonant. And yeah, I don't know. I like this is so beautiful, and I know we have limited time. I could just go on and on. So
Me too. Me too.
it's like hard to like, oh, what are the questions? Well, let me open the book. I would say maybe if you have anything that's calling you to say about like open centers. I don't know what in particular, but maybe what you've learned in your work with your own design, like how the open centers affect or impact you, or like what's
I
there.
just did a refresher. Literally just did a refresher on all the centers. I think I'm almost done, but so far what I learned about the openness is, if you think about ourselves as containers, and then we're being filled up by basically everything that's coming around us, whether it's people, places, environment, heavy on them environments, people, places, anything. And that's just who we are. Depending on whether it's in your head, in the crown, where you're constantly receiving information, it does not mean that it's all yours to take. So that's really where it is. Like, when it comes to your identity center, where it's like, this is who you are, your willpower. Sometimes you're gonna feel motivated and to do something because somebody around you wants to do it. It's our job to see what's ours to take and what's not, but we're going to always be taking in those centers. We're going to always be filling up, whether it's people talking around us, music, films that we watch. We're always going to be soaking things up. So I would say what I took from it is we got to be mindful of everything that we're like consuming, the people that we're around. The minute we feel any sense of hesitancy when it comes to like being ourselves around someone, we already know that's indicative that we're not supposed to be around them. The minute we leave an environment, or we leave like engagement with someone and we feel immediately drained, that's an indicator. So I feel like our open spaces, it gives us that experience of taking in and experiencing different feelings that's not our own. The issue kind of comes in when we mistake the way we feel, especially when we're just taking and amplifying somebody else's feeling as our own. You ever felt like you were fine and then 1 minute, just out of nowhere, just so like annoyed? I'm gonna give you an example. Somebody with a solar plexus that's open. Let's say I'm around a couple of people and they're just not in the greatest of mood. Nothing triggered me, but for some reason now I'm not in the greatest mood. And now I'm over analyzing, trying to figure out what's wrong with me, kind of like doubling down on something that I think that it's irritating me. Whole time, it's just my environment. It's the people around me. Minute they leave, my energy clears. So depending on where you have open centers, that I feel like those are the centers that we just gotta be more mindful of when it comes to, 'cause I feel like you have an open crown. So you have to be more mindful about the information that you receive. Like I like to think of it like even when we're meditating, you know, we allow the thoughts to just come. We don't like really focus on each thought. We just allow it to pass through like clouds. The same thing. Allow information to pass through. Like let's say you have a creative idea, right? And if you immediately feel pressured to tackle it and you don't have the energy, you already know maybe it's just not the time right now. But there's no need to pressure on it, to feel pressure to do it right now just because you received the idea and the thought. Do you journal? I'm pretty sure you do.
I do,
Okay.
but I'm trying to do it more.
Yeah. Journaling will
Yes,
be helpful because that way I
get
like
it
to
out.
look at mental clearing, especially for open heads. Like I have an open head too. And I used to struggle with this. I used to think that every thought was mine.
Right,
Sometimes
me
it will
too.
be negative thoughts. It will be thoughts that people have said a long time ago, and it was kind of like laying doormat until something triggered it.
Totally.
And I had to get out of that and realize, oh, so I don't have to be a victim to my own thoughts. You also have a open heart center. That's the ego center. That's your motivation and will. And I think in that center, that's when we understand that there's gonna be times where we don't feel as motivated, and that's okay. There's gonna be times when you don't feel like doing the things that we always love to do. That doesn't mean that we're depressed. We probably need to rest. We probably need space from stimulus or other people coming into our space, you know. Open spleen, and that's really the fear center. So other people's fears become yours, so we gotta be mindful about that. It could easily become, and that's the thing, open centers easy to be conditioned sometimes without us even realizing it, you know. Sacral center, that's really our energy center. We don't have that consistently as projector, but I realize you have a defined root center. So you're energy projector like I am. We feel like we have all the energy even though we don't, but we feel it, and that causes us to keep going like we're generators.
Right,
We
exactly. It's like
we
it's
want to
taken me a
push
while
through.
to appreciate that the root center is like I'm working on a personal exploration of like color coding all of the gates on the body graph so that I can see what just more easily see what zodiacal signs they're in. And the root center is almost all Capricorn. I think it's also some Cancer, but
Yes,
it made me realize like, oh my God, this is my restlessness. This is my like do
and
like
Capricorn energy needs that. You
outlet.
need to exert. You need to exert. It's kind of
Yeah,
like Aries energy. You need an outlet. It
yeah,
doesn't even have to be anything like that you're doing. Like you could
right,
probably go for a walk or run. You probably need
right.
to dance. You just need to
Your
move that energy.
embodiment work, exactly.
Yeah,
Learning that.
that's all. I love all this because that it also goes back to personalizing us, you know, and focusing on our individual journeys, and then also having like the experience of relating to another. Like you go through that too. I do
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
This was beautiful, Bri. I'm thankful that you found me. I'm thankful I found you because
Yeah,
I
me
was
too.
looking all over. I was like, no. And I'm happy that happened 3 line because I trip over things sometimes. I'm happy that happened because I'm like, oh, Nani, make sure the emails
Yeah,
location is there, you know. So thank
totally.
you for
Yes.
that, your patience and just being here.
Yeah, bless you so much. I'm so, so grateful to get to do this with you. It's
I
really
appreciate
a blessing.
it. Please look forward for this report. I'm actually going to email it to you right now. If you have any questions, please feel free. I'm here. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm here. DM me, email me. Like, we're going to keep this connection going, okay?
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you so much. I hope you have a beautiful weekend and stay beautiful, stay vibrant, continue to go out there and get what's yours, Bri. You got this.
Bless you,
You got this.
Shandy. You too. Bless you so much.